And last but not the least, to join us in the panel, he's the Engineering Solution Director at 𝒂𝒏𝒆𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕𝒔 Thailand. Welcome, Ibrahim. Welcome. All right, then I'm just going to pass the stage to you, gentlemen. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Energy Box for giving me an opportunity to be part of this panel. Our topic today is reshaping clean energy, optimization on energy storage projects in Southeast Asia. My name is Jerin. I work for Black & Veatch as Director for Southeast Asia. Black & Veatch is a consulting, engineering, and EPC company providing solutions in power, gas, fuels, decarbonization, and the energy transition. We are a 115-year-old company. We've been present in APAC since the 1920s. We have and are continuing to deliver projects in power transmission, power generation, renewables, energy storage, EV charging, data centers, and decarbonization and the broader clean energy transition space. And this has been in a variety of roles as consultant, as owner's engineer, as designer, and as EPC contractor. Circling back to the topic, it's an obvious fact that our traditional approaches to energy generation and consumption are no longer sustainable. We need to pivot fast to solutions that can potentially help us get and meet our national and our corporate commitments towards zero carbon and sustainable operations. Again, obvious incremental solutions exist, and alongside some more ambitious moonshot solutions. Solar, along with other traditional renewables, have been leading the way for a substantial portion of the recent past. Energy storage has stepped up to kind of meet some of the traditional challenges associated with the so-called intermittent sources of power. And today, energy storage is able to provide for us a frequency regulation, black start capability, grid support, a peak shaving, supporting microgrids, and more pertinent to our conversation, renewables integration. With that context, I'm really honored and pleased to have on this panel Ibrahim and Akarin, two veterans representing firms that are leading the charge on clean energy transition in this region. I would request both gentlemen to kind of give an introduction to themselves and to their firms, and before we go on to the detailed conversation. Maybe Ibrahim, can you go first?
Yes, my name is İbrahim Kocagöz, Engineering Solutions Director of 𝒂𝒏𝒆𝒍𝒊𝒔𝒕𝒔 Thailand. 𝒂𝒏𝒆𝒍 is the biggest, largest facilities management, engineering, security, cleaning, and food catering company in Thailand. We are 55 years old in Thailand. We are UK-based company, 120 years old from UK. And we have got presence in 12 countries in all over the world. And many people are asking, of course, I mean, why we are in the renewable energy sector, what is our role? We do operation maintenance, of course. I mean, we do the cleaning of the system and preventive maintenance and maintenance of the system. But besides this one, our main goal is to promote the renewable energy to do our clients where they are looking for energy resources from the sustainable resources. So basically, we have got more than 5,000 clients in Thailand, only in Thailand, and from different sectors, from the manufacturing, from hospitals, factories, shopping malls, industrial states. So we are promoting renewable energy, especially, of course, solar energy to our clients. Thank you very much.
ครับสวัสดีครับอัครินทร์สุวรรณรัตน์นะครับจาก EA Well I'm Akarin from Energy Absolute is a small young company with 15 years in operation. Now today we are doing many things. We are the power producer. We own 12 solar and wind power plants in the countries. We are operating 1 gigawatt-hour battery factory in Thailand and expanding to 4 gigawatt-hour within a couple of years. And we are operating also e-buses and e-ferry in Bangkok. And we are doing many other things about the green energies. So I have been working as the Special Assistant and the EVP of the EA for the last 4 years. I'm focusing on the development of the renewable energy projects and charging station for the EVs. And I have been working in renewable energy for the last 20 years. I built the first solar power plants in Thailand, I think 20 years ago when I was very young. And I have been working in the development of coal-fired, gas-fired solar plants, wind power plants, altogether more than 2 gigawatts globally.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you, and it's been an honor to be part of your panel and our conversations before the panel as well. Let's first start with storage. Why do we need it, and why is it such an important topic in the energy transition? And specifically in terms of what has happened in the recent past and what we have learned in the last 3 to 5 years, specifically with large individual users adopting either renewables or a renewables plus storage concept. With that, to you, Akarin, as a solutions provider and leader in the alternate energy business, what changes are prompting some of this adoption, and what is the need to act now in terms of practical and workable clean energy solutions?
Well, as we know that we are facing the global warming problems. That's why we are developing the renewable energies, and renewable energies is growing very fast, not only in Thailand, but also, let's say, in Asia. For example, in Thailand, actually, we just closed the power purchase agreement round last Friday for the 5,000 megawatt more renewables. So it's proving that renewable is coming and is growing. And all of us know that renewable power plants generate intermittent generations. And another way around, on the demand side, EV are coming. I think most of you have already visited the motor shows, and you see the population of EV is growing. So there will be a fluctuation on both sides. On the generation side from the renewable power plants, and also on the demand side, if the EV population is growing. So the ESS, the energy storage system, will play let's say, one of the key role in this, because it would help, let's say, eliminate the intermittent generations, and also help support the consuming side by providing reserve energies if there is a fluctuation on the generation side. This is one thing. And another thing, I think we can see that the latest power purchase agreement round, the Thai government already opened the PPA for the solar power plants plus energy storage. And the quota is 1,000 megawatt. And for this bidding round, there will be more than 2,000 megawatt applicants. So we can see that this is a global trend and also the national trend that the renewable and the storage are coming.
Absolutely. And what we've seen with the recent PDP has been very, very encouraging, to say the very least, in terms of the number of applicants for storage. So Ibrahim, as a facilities operator for individuals, for industrial and retail, in the industrial and retail sector, are you also seeing something similar? And what are you as an operator and your customers, what are they demanding? And are we also approaching a new phase of demand where everyone is looking to have either renewables or a renewables plus storage as part of their facilities?
This is my 5th year almost in Thailand. When I arrived here, I was in Middle East for 10 years and in Russia for 4 years. So different environment, different needs, of course. But basically, when I came to Thailand, I see, especially when I'm driving to the Chonburi Rayong from the highway, you can see a majority, 99% of the roofs were empty. But now you can see at least around 30% or maybe more. It's increased, and they have got PV panel. And then when I arrived, when we were promoting solar energy, the most of the concerns was about whether if there is enough strong sun, or was it a reasonable price to invest, or there are many other reasons that the clients were putting as a reason. But now, because of the consulting, I think the advisors who's advising them, it was not correct advising. So basically, it was one of our role to consult our client. So we consult our client and we give the right answer. There's enough solar and the price is quite reasonable. There's a return on investment for 4 to 5, 6 years if they invest in worst cases. So then you can see, of course, you are not the only advisor. There are many advisors that are advising to the clients. So you can see everybody's investing now, or they are finding investors and to invest for solar energy. But now the second question is coming. When we promote to solar energy to our clients, they are saying, okay, how much we can store? So of course, 90% of the clients, they're asking same question. They are saying, can we store? Where we can store? Is it storage is included? The batteries are included? Of course not. But basically, what's the reason of the question is about the regulations, especially in Thailand, heavily. Why? Because the factory, for example, we can give a very good example. They can build a solar panel, but if they cannot use, because even they use investor, they have a commitment that they have to use a certain number of power per day or per month. And then if they cannot use, they have to pay anyway. So investor really don't mind because they invested. So they need to return the investment. So there are a couple of options. Either they will sell it to someone else. They can sell it to the neighbor. Even it's easy. Technically, there is no problem. But I think regulation still doesn't allow, as far as I know. And they cannot inject to the grid. So they have to use. So this is the question. That's why they are asking. Of course, there is a demand. There is a high demand. But the problem is definitely storage size is huge. So it means they need, in order to, store for 1 megawatt, they should have a huge space. So this space has got operation maintenance costs and cost of the batteries, of course, cost and sustainability also, of course. Because we are talking about sustainable energy. So then if you build such a kind of batteries, then definitely it will not meet with your goal here. So there is a demand definitely from the clients, but at the moment there are big challenges technically and commercially.
Thanks, Ibrahim. And I think so. The overall consensus seems to be that storage itself remains a problem, and probably also coupled with regulation, we are facing a particular challenge. So maybe as an ancillary to that thought, what advantages and opportunities exist if industries and large users shift to this renewables and renewables plus storage kind of a mechanism? Would it be just what kind of business strategies or business models would evolve that can support such adoption? And so, Ibrahim, particularly interested in what your customers are thinking in terms of what are the advantages of deploying storage. Is it about life cycle cost? Is it about stability, reliability, or resilience? What are you hearing in the market?
Yeah, basically, they are looking for the cost, life cycle also, of course, because this is also a big challenge at the moment. There are not much options in the industry. There are certain type of batteries or storage methods. Unfortunately, it is not easing life of the clients, for the exhausted limitation, so it's still limited. So basically, there is a huge cost in front of the client, so they are hesitating to invest for this one, of course. But this, the question that you're asking, this is creating a business opportunity. Maybe in the next question, we will elaborate more. When we were discussing outside also, I was saying, since I was working for Motorola 25 years ago, I'm just calculating when it was, so there was a research and development department, and they were working on the batteries. The features in the batteries, this is what we can say. Can you imagine, if you can store huge power in a small USB or some, like a stick, or for your car even, you can buy from the 7-Eleven a battery, just put it into your car and drive another 400, 500 kilometers. So this is of course expectations, but I think it's coming. It's not impossible. We are not working on it, but the scientists or the big companies, I'm sure they are working on it. So basically, there is a big challenge on the commercial side still and technical side. But there are big improvements on the last years as I can see the size of the batteries. Yeah.
So again, we're circling back to cost and whether the technology really is mature enough for a large-scale deployment in that sense. Again, Akarin, as a solutions provider, strategically, you must be seeing a whole lot more in terms of pathways and opportunities. Will there be a mindset towards storage and especially in terms of new business models, maybe around EV charging or with other aspects of mobility? What would you be seeing?
Well, when we talk about the energy storage, there are many, let's say, many factors we have to consider. Let's go back to your previous questions about the opportunity on the industrial side. Well, of course, there is opportunities because due to the carbon tax wall, all the factories in Thailand have to move forward and develop to, let's say, to come across this carbon tax. One of the things that they are encouraging by the Federation of Thai Industry is to use the green energies. So that's why now today we have seen that many factories in Thailand have installed the solar rooftop, but they still hesitate to install the energy storage due to the high price. It's too expensive, frankly speaking. Then, from my point of view, it's another way around. We would not encourage the owners of the plant to install the ESS on their side, but it should be installed on the generation side, at the renewable power plants or at the substations. And during the energy transition sessions, I think one of our colleagues have discussed about the sandbox. So I want to update a little bit more that nowadays sandbox phase 2. So sandbox phase 1 have been complete 2 years ago. Now they are working on phase 2. One of the sandbox project they are working is energy trading, because of course they try to find a way that the factory industry or the consumer who want to use clean energy are able to buy clean energy from the grid. But it's still a piloting project. But we have seen one good example that actually, I think in August this year, we have successfully transferred clean energy from hydropower plant in Laos to Singapore past Thailand grids. So I think it's one of the first projects during the last 5 years, and I think this is a good example. It's a good sign that the trading platform is coming, the Asian power grid, the power pool is coming. So it's possible now if the consumer side would like to buy clean energy, and then the storage would play the important role in that side, right? This is one thing. Then come back to your questions about another possibility on the EV side. Yes, one thing that we have seen is that as the EV population is growing, and there is a lot of question about the recycling of the battery. But one thing that we have discussed is about the second life of the battery. So second life of the battery can be used for the ESS on the generation side or at the substations. So there is opportunities, but since we need to give some time to the EV market to grow, for example, if in the next 5 years, if we have, let's say, 1 million EV cars in the country, there will be more than enough battery to be used as a second life in the energy storage at the substation, at least in Bangkok or around Bangkok.
Thanks, Akarin. And I think we had a similar question a couple of panels ago about what's the role of grid here. And the example that you gave of the LTMS connection is about 100 megawatts. But we are also constrained that the Thailand-Malaysia connection can only provide probably 300 megawatts of transfer capacity. So that kind of has a chokehold on what's potentially possible all across ASEAN. And therefore, the grid solution, the grid part of the question definitely needs to be answered. And that will bring us to the question of where to have storage optimally. Should it be at the grid stage, or should it be at the grid? Should it be at the generator, or should it be at the consumer? Or what kind of a mix that can better help us, given the current stage of storage development, both in terms of technology and in terms of cost. And of course, that's, and I think there's a panel next to us probably discussing this in more detail, especially on the grid side of things. Hey, so I'll kind of come back to regulations and incentives. What do you see is the play there for regulations and incentives around renewables and renewables plus storage within the large consumer space? Maybe it's a free. Maybe one
Okay.
of you.
If regulations, I mean, definitely, since we are talking about in Thailand, I mean, it is to be updated. It is to, I mean, promote more investors and R&D companies to come and invest, because, as I mentioned, I mean, there are many certain reasons that you cannot build more than its capacity solar energy. I was giving again a factory reason that you cannot sell or you cannot give to the different locations, and so the regulations have to be updated first for the solar, but for the storage also, I mean, there must be some incentives, and the startup companies maybe can be supported. This is what I'm thinking, and of course, I mean, worldwide there are big companies. They are working on the storage, improving the storage capacities. So as a Thailand government, they can provide them some incentives for them to come here, invest, to become Thailand, to make Thailand as a hub of storage. I mean, as I mentioned, keep saying the future is in the storage, really, and of course, recycling of all these batteries is also very important. Actually, recycling of the batteries, and plus we are not talking about in these days recycling of the PV panels. As far as I know, there is no recycle plant for the PV panels in Thailand. Maybe even ASEAN. As far as I know, there are in China, but not in Thailand yet, as far as I know. But of course, I mean, this is my knowledge. So this is also another business opportunity, definitely, how to recycle, because it's needed also specialized work. I was searching about it last year. There was a company from France. It was quite famous in Europe. They had got a couple of plants in Europe, all over the world. And for example, they were looking to invest in the ASEAN countries also to build, but definitely they are looking how much PV panels are used so far and how is their life cycle time. And then, of course, it will give them correct calculations for them to invest. So yeah, I mean, there are business opportunities I can see here, but definitely the Thailand government has to ease the regulations or put additional regulations that can bring investors, because of course, I mean, it's better to do it in-house. I mean, usually everything else, but you cannot do everything in-house. So better to bring expertise. We know, especially on the energy sectors now, everyone, big companies, big names, experts, they want to invest in the ASEAN countries, not only ASEAN, in Europe also. There are big players. So open the platform for all of them, let them compete, because competition usually helps to improve the technical skills and commercial, of course. I mean, so my expectations, regulations will be better soon in Thailand, so it can bring more competition to the Thailand in terms of technical and commercial. So it will make all these ideas cheaper and in a better quality.
So regarding the regulations, there's still a limitation, especially in Thailand, because nowadays the energy market in Thailand is still an enhanced single buyer, which means all the generation must sell to 𝒂𝒏. Then 𝒂𝒏 distribute electricity to either PEA, Provincial Electricity Authority, or MEA, Metropolitan Authorities. So since there is a limitation as an enhanced single buyer market, so that's why it's not a good market for energy storage yet, because there's a big question how we operate the energy storage commercially, because we cannot store and sell it to whoever want to buy or whoever we want to sell, because we have to sell to 𝒂𝒏. So that's why I have mentioned previously that it should be on the generation side for the time being, until we have, let's say, the open market. then there will be opportunity for the consumer side. This is one thing. And another thing, if we look at the large scale, is on the generation side, in the latest PPA round, it's only open for the solar PV plus energy storage. That's it, not other thing else. So during the last round, they opened for wind farm, solar farm plus ESS, and biogas. It means we cannot apply PPA for wind plus ESS or any other generation plus ESS. So it's a good side that the market is open for energy storage, but it's still a limitation because it's only for the PV.
Okay, that's an additional constraint within the new the renewable PDP as such, and I think in general we've seen that there are limitations mostly on the regulation side or on the cost side, and probably even on some sort of behaviors that we are seeing. But do you see any technical limitations in terms of deployment and implementation of these solutions? Any opinion in that regard?
Yes, I mean, basically all these, I mean, technical difficulties are coming from the capacity of the storage. I mean, when we say, for example, I was just before coming here, I was calculating the size of the batteries that has been used in the cars. It's huge still. I mean, it's almost a meter to length, and wide is also almost a similar size. So huge. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, you want to build 10 megawatt solar panel. I'm just giving solar panel, and these ones is an easy example, so we can imagine how much storage we may need. And definitely, I mean, to keep this one, to cool these batteries, technically, well, yeah, because of the size. Again, I mean, that's the challenge. So if we can, if the technology can improve, or I mean, the R&D can work on the make this size small, different use. I mean, because everybody is now focused on the lithium, but again, I mean, Akarin also mentioned about the sand. I mean, to keep the solar energy into the side injector and then use it on the other premises, etc. This is what I was just watching last night from the World Economic Forum. There was a video. It was talking about technology. So there are different technologies, but still, according to me, it's a challenge because of the size. If we can keep in a smaller place all this energy which is produced by anything else, then definitely it will be easy to maintain and keep it and store it, of course. So there are technical challenges, yeah, definitely.
Well, based on our experience, from technical point of view, there is not much challenge, not difficulties to have, let's say, solar PV plus ESS, if it is, let's say, if the project is viable or feasible. The only challenge we have faced with many clients or with many users is just about the cost.
I think that's about the central topic point, right? The cost and the viability of it all. So kind of to round up the whole conversation, so what does industry need to do? I mean, in terms of pushing this forward, is it regulations, lobbying for regulations, or change, education, looking at a broader set of resources that are available in the market, or of technology itself, or maybe even digital as an adoption within this space in terms of managing these assets? What is your view in terms of what industry needs to do to push this forward now?
Yeah, education is the top one, of course. I mean, as I mentioned, since I was in Thailand 5 years ago, there were different ideas. I mean, the client was not implementing solar energy for different reasons, like there was no enough solar, or they were thinking it is costly, etc. Education, every level. So education can be done through the schools, of course, but through the government, through different sources. So education is a must, first of all. Then second thing is regulation, as we mentioned. Even we saw, okay, technically it's good to have the solar energy on top of your factory, but and you have a huge roof, but if you cannot use all of them, and if you cannot share with someone else, or if you cannot sell, then there must be changes, I mean, on the regulations that it can promote renewable energy. And definitely investment for the research and development centers. This is a must, but for the correct ones, definitely, especially for the storage. If I were the government or a big private company sector, if I have got like, say, 100 million Thai baht, for sure I will invest to the storage, definitely, to the batteries, to improve the capacity, size, type of the batteries for the future, because I see the features on the storage of the energy. Yeah. So 3 things I can count: education, regulations, and investment on the research and development.
So from my point of view, it's just about the market opportunities. If the transformation of the energy market is successfully done, let's say in the next, let's say 2-3 years, if we are allowed to buy and sell clean electricity freely, then there will be a chance or opportunity for using the ESS as a key to enable the growing of the renewable energies. This is one thing. And another thing is about the growing market of the renewable generations and the EV market itself. Because if the EV market is growing, then there will be a lot of battery in the markets. And the battery cost is supposed to be, let's say, reducing due to the large amount of battery in the market. This is one thing. And if there will be more renewable energies in the market, we need one of the things that would help stabilize the generation is the ESS and the generation side and at the substations. So when the opportunity comes, then the battery price going down, and there will be a lot of opportunity for the energy storage to play the roles in the markets.
Thank you, Ibrahim and Akarin. I think broadly in the panel we have spoken about how cost remains a limitation, how some of the technologies are probably not that advanced, or maybe at least we don't have access to viable storage solutions right away. Probably the market structures are not facilitating such large-scale investments at this time, or maybe that's a mix of both the market and regulations coming into play, and then of course the broader context of recycling panels and batteries, and probably even around second life for batteries, as we discussed, and then of course all of that tying into probably some EV play, and EV itself, with the load that is expected to come onto the grid, I mean it may change market dynamics as well. So with that in mind, I realize we have about 5-7 minutes remaining, and I thought we could have a conversation with the audience.
May I borrow just for a few minutes?
Hi, thank you guys for a very interesting discussion. I'm Stéphane Dufresne, Head of Business Development for Green Yellow. Regarding the cost, so you touch a bit about the cost of the batteries, and it's kind of a chicken and egg. As the market grows, the cost will shrink. What could be, so difficult to answer with right, with wrong, but what could be the key driver to push down the cost of the batteries? I've been in solar for 10 years, and each year we say battery will be the new kid on the block. Yeah, sure, it's coming, it will come, but it's not the new kid on the block yet. So any limiting factors, like there is no mega players like for PV modules, like the LONGi, Trina of the world, or what could be the reason for that? That the cost of battery remains super high.
Okay. Well, the cost of battery is still, let's say, on the high side globally, right? It's not just Thailand, but I think it's quite similar. As I think the PV module is a good example. We can see that 20 years ago, PV module is extremely expensive, and during the last, let's say, 7 years, the price has been dropping down by, let's say, 70%. We expect to see similar things for batteries. it's just on the question is just on the demand side, because the PV, the cost of the PV is dropping down due to many factors. The technology is one thing, material cost is another thing, manufacturing process, and most importantly, about the promoting of renewable energies. So it's about the economy of scale. When you have a large volume of products in the market, then the cost is dropping, similar to batteries. As the EV is growing, we expect to see that in the meantime, when the market is growing, technology is developing, the cost will be cheaper because the volume is increasing. So we expect to see the large drop, let's say, within the next 3 to 5 years for Thailand.
Thank you.
If I may just add, I think lithium, we're overly dependent on lithium ion as a principal form of energy storage. And lithium for energy storage is competing also with EV, right, with electric vehicles. So hopefully some of the other technologies that are at TRL level 6, 7, and 8 will quickly move up to maybe 9, and then we'll probably see a reduction in these storage prices as well.
Yes, we have one more. I think the mic.
The problem I see is that there is a very famous Bloomberg article that shows the demand of lithium versus the amount of mining that you can actually do. And the main sources of lithium, if I'm right, are Australia, one of them, and the other source is probably Chile, but their mines are not still quite developed. So I think the price will be dependent on lithium that you can get, because you are competing between the demand for EV storage and the demand for ESS storage. And if the mines do not go up, I don't think that you will have enough lithium in the market.
Absolutely.
Well, that could be one of the factors, but don't forget that there will be more source for lithium. For example, like some mines in Africa, for example, right? But yes, absolutely, you are right that the mining is one of the key. But another way around, please do not forget that, yes, nowadays we are living with a lithium-ion battery, but any other technologies are under development, such as solid state and new technologies such as source battery as well.
I think the next one, the solid state, is only the electrolyte. But I think the next one that's coming up is probably the sodium. Yeah, but the problem is that it's cheaper because you're using sodium, which is more abundant, but the problem is that the size. It's twice the energy density, it's less than half the energy density of lithium.
Right. And probably at this stage, it's mostly being tried at the grid scale for storage, right?
It's still experimental, if I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go. That's why we're still living with a lithium-ion battery.
15 years. All right. Okay, thank you very much. If there's no other question, then we would like to give a big round of applause to our panelists and, of course, our moderator, Jerin. Thank you very much. And of course, as our custom, we would like to present you with a little gift today. So please, I would like you all to raise, and then we'll take a big photos together. All right, thank you. So that's truly a good session. And then we also have a lot of information sharing during the session as well. So truly a wonderful day for all of us. Therefore, we would like to take a quick break. We're going to have another tea break for now, for another 15 to 20 minutes. So I think we can all come back at 4:35 for our final panel discussion before we entering to our final agenda of today, which is the award ceremony. So once we come back at 4:35, it's going to be a panel, actually not quite a panel, but it's going to be an interesting talk about stability and profitability of the role for energy storage to enhance solar projects and improve grid stability. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another break now for around 20 minutes. Please come back at 4:35. We're going to continue the next session on time with a talk from Kun Patsamon and Chinnawat later on. So see you at 4:35. Thank you.